Hello everyone and welcome to Soul Ascension Tarot. My name is Whitney and I'm an intuitive tarot reader. In today's video, I am going to be channeling some messages for you guys. I do have some cards pulled and we'll get to those at the end. But what I really wanted to do with this reading was to pull a random image that I found on the internet and channel messages from it. When selecting your pile, there are a couple different ways you can do so. You can either choose from the cards I already have pulled. You can pause the video if you need more time to choose. I have pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. The 3 images that I selected do correspond with these piles, but if you feel more called to choose from the images, I will also include like a picture at the end of the intro that you can also choose from. So some of you may even end up choosing more than one pile depending on what you're intuitively called to from each kind of like, I don't know, however you choose your pile. But I think that's all I have for the intro. I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. But before I get started with pile number 1, you can pick from your image right now. Hello, pile number 1, and welcome to your message. If you chose this image, I'm not sure if you can see it very clearly in the camera, or if you chose this pile of cards and this is your message. I think first we'll start with your channeled message. So while looking at your image, for me, this feels like the very beginning of spring, where like if you are someone that, I don't know, I feel like most people don't really like the winter, especially once the holiday season and all that is over with. And then we're just like, all we have to look forward to is the spring. It's kind of like that very early spring is what I'm sensing. I'm also seeing like the image of a woman, and I'm not saying like you're a woman, but like it doesn't really matter what you identify as, but it's just like the image that I'm seeing is like a woman standing in the middle and she's just like combing through her hair. I don't know, I'm hearing like for you guys it's going to be important for you to take care of yourself. I'm also hearing too there's a need for you to tend to yourself and tend to your garden, and I'm not talking about like a literal garden. I'm talking about like, I'm actually hearing like whatever is important to you, and whatever is important to you, in order for you to be able to take care of it and tend to it, I'm hearing it's going to be important for you to also tend to yourself. I'm hearing you are the garden. So I don't know, I'm just getting the message for you guys. Like there's, I don't know, it also feels like because I'm kind of seeing like this maiden, like she's just combing her hair, and maybe this is like the energy that you guys are in. You're just in your maiden energy, and by that I mean there really isn't a whole lot on your plate right now, or it's kind of like you are very much so in like your, not, I don't want to say you're like delusional, but like I feel like a lot of people who see people in this type of energy, they say that these people are so delusional, but it's not that. It's just that they are in this energy of not stressing themselves out over things that are outside of their control. They're not chasing, they're not forcing, they're not trying, you know, they're basically not trying. They're just allowing things or whatever is meant for them to come in. And I'm getting the message too that like when what's meant to come in comes in, you do tend to it, you do take care of it, you do nurture it, and it's just like you're allowing all this abundance to grow around you and form around you and basically nourish you. I don't know, I'm hearing there's like a large supply of something. I don't know, maybe it's like a large supply of blessings, or it's a large supply of abundance around you right now. Even if you don't feel it, maybe this is something that is coming in for you. If it's something that you're not feeling right now, I feel like the way, the key or the door for you to access this is through taking care of yourself, tending to yourself, because I think I did say this, you guys are the garden, and once you start tending to yourself and taking care of yourself, that is when you'll see like this abundance come in for you. That is when you will start to see growth and change happen for you. Okay, let's go ahead and look at your cards. So you guys have a Fool, and I actually might have to move this out the way. So we have from the Fool, Five of Cups, Six of Cups, and Seven of Swords. Okay, the message I'm seeing with your cards, it feels like I feel like you've been in a period of healing. I'm getting the message that you guys have been doing a lot of inner child healing, because I'm seeing with like the Six of Cups, I feel like this is like the mini version of this woman here, and I feel like whatever healing you've done, it's like put you now in this energy where, like, I don't know, maybe in the past like you didn't do your healing and you were just trying to move forward, and I just feel like the things from your past were like continuously haunting you and following you around, and because of that you weren't able to move in the way that you wanted to because you were carrying all this baggage with you. I feel like you're in a period where you're either dealing with the baggage or you have already dealt with the baggage, and now you are entering into this period where you have this fresh start. And I feel like that's kind of like what I was getting with your image, where it feels like spring. It actually reminds me of how, like, with the seasons, because where I live at currently, we are in fall, and after fall it's winter, and then of course it's spring. And I believe that, you know, we are kind of like aligned with the seasons as well. And I feel like the reason why a lot of people like suffer from seasonal depression during the winter is because it is a time where we are called to, like, you know, if you look at the trees, they kind of like, most of them have gone dormant and they've lost all their leaves, which means their branches are exposed. And in the winter, our own branches are exposed, and we can't, like, we don't have any, like, a place for ourselves to hide anymore from our shadows and from the things that we may have been able to distract ourselves from in, you know, the warmer seasons. And so I feel like maybe this is like a period where you're coming into now, especially if you do live in, I don't know like what kind of climate you live in, but if you do live in the United States and you do live in an environment where the seasons change from like fall to winter and spring and summer, I feel like you are entering a phase where you're being very reflective and kind of diving deeper into your inner world and kind of getting to the root of why things or certain situations occur in your life. I feel like I'm getting the feeling like there is something that's like being catalyzed within you. Like, it's like you are tired of being stuck in a certain energy, or you're tired of not receiving what it is that you want. And so that is why I feel like you're kind of like I'm seeing you're giving yourself what it is that you want through healing your inner child. I don't know why, but I'm getting the image too of like maybe one of your limiting beliefs is that like life is meant to be hard. I'm not really sure what your inner child went through, but I am getting the sense that you were I'm just like with your image, it's like the maiden is someone who is innocent, someone that doesn't carry the weight of the world yet. The maiden is someone that hasn't fully experienced the heaviness of life. And I feel like because I don't know, maybe for some of you, you felt like you had to make certain sacrifices at a young age. And so you kind of had to carry the weight of the world at an early age. And I feel like you guys are kind of giving your inner child what it never got to, like the energy that it didn't get to exist in, by dealing with the baggage and doing the healing work, and you know, kind of like putting your inner child in a space where it can flourish and not have to deal with the weight that it was carrying. And so even though they say like once you like you kind of like, I don't know how they say it, but it's like you go through these stages from like being the maiden, the mother, and then the crone. And I feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like, I don't know, this is like a channel message, but I feel like, you know, it's not necessarily in those stages. I feel like all of those stages kind of exist within us at the same time, because I am getting the energy that, you know, your maiden didn't get the chance, your inner maiden didn't get the chance to flourish and be in that energy for too long, because it was like reality kind of like forced you into your mother energy. And I'm not saying that you're an actual mother, but it's like you are now mothering yourself so that your inner maiden can flourish the way that it wants to. I do feel also that you're entering into a phase where you're kind of like doing away with what's no longer serving you, and it's creating space for what is meant for you to come in. It's kind of like making me think of, because I did like with your image, I did see a lot with it, like about like gardening and stuff like that. And it's making me think of like pulling the weeds from the garden, because if you don't pull your weeds from your garden, the weeds can kind of like take over, and then you don't like what you do want to harvest, and the plants that you do want to grow, they don't have the space to grow. So you're realizing that you have to kind of pull out the weeds and not try to take them with you, or I don't know, because maybe for a while you've kind of like identified with your weeds, and you're realizing that you are not your weeds, they are not you, and in order to flourish and get what it is that you want, you have to kind of like deal with them instead of like ignoring them. And I do believe like once you start to take care of your weeds, like you will open yourself up to a new beginning. But let's look at your oracle cards now. So the first card you have is visualize success. See yourself doing well in this situation and have faith in a positive outcome. And then you have fertility. Let all take root, seed, and sprout. Let new life be all about. Okay, and then you have inner peace. With your oracle cards, it's making me think of like how I see a lot of people when they're talking about like manifestation and stuff like that, they tend to talk about like becoming the main character or creating a new character for yourself within your life. And I feel like for some of you, like maybe you've always identified a certain way, or you've always identified with a certain role in your life. I feel like part of you doing this healing work, it's going to be about you kind of like taking on a different role for yourself in your life. And it's gonna, I want to say that you're taking more control over your life, but it doesn't really feel that way. It's more so that you're letting go of your control, especially the things that you have very limited control over anyway. So it's like, if I don't have control over these things, why am I going to carry it with me? For some of you, I feel like you may be developing a stronger connection with source, and I feel like that's going to help you out a lot. I feel like for some of you, like you're creating a life that this younger version of yourself feels, I don't know, I feel like there was a version of yourself, I'm not really sure what your inner child experienced, but I don't know, for some of you, I feel like it was probably very traumatic. I'm even hearing like lack and even like poverty. Like I feel like there was like a lot of lack within your childhood. Like maybe you had to go without, you weren't able to take care of yourself the way that you should have been taken care of. You weren't able to treat yourself the way that you wanted to treat yourself. And I feel like you are entering a life for that, I don't know, it's a life that you created, but it's like from the eyes of your inner child, like this is a life that they never envisioned they could have. And I don't know, I feel like you've created a sense of safety around your inner child that they never thought that they would get to experience. It's making me think, like with this fertility card, I'm kind of like seeing this fruit, and I'm also seeing this woman in this card eating some fruit, and it's making me think of how, like, unfortunately there are like people who like live with food scarcity, or they live unfortunately they're not able to provide themselves with enough to eat. And in these situations where like they are able to be in a situation where they have enough to eat and it's not going anywhere, sometimes they have a tendency to overeat because they're kind of like living with this fear that it's going to run out, or they are going to starve again. And it's not until they realize that, the food will always be there and that they're not going to go back to how it was, that's when they're able to feel safe. But they need an environment, they need a person there to kind of guide them and to show them and teach them and recondition them into believing that they are finally safe in this environment that they're in, and they're not going to go back to how things were. But for you, pile number one, I just feel like you are creating a new world for yourself. I'm also hearing too that you're creating a new world with a different set of rules for yourself. Because again, you're just getting the message that you're from your inner child. Like there was I don't know, they in their world there was like a certain way that the world just operated, and it was that's just how it was. And I feel like your inner child is very amazed by the woman you are, or I don't want to say woman, but the person you are, or the person that you're becoming, because your inner child never envisioned that they would get to be that, and they would never get to experience the things that you are showing your inner child that it can experience. But that's all I'm seeing for you, pile number one. I really hope this message resonated with you, or you're able to take something from it. I really appreciate you so much for watching. Again, I'm currently not taking personal readings at this time, so please don't be scammed by anyone who may pretend to be me. If you'd like to support me or my work, you can do so by simply liking this video and also sharing it with anyone you think may benefit from hearing it. I would also appreciate it if you subscribe, because I plan on posting more videos in the future. But I look forward to seeing you in a future reading, and I will see you then. Hello, pile number two. If you chose this set of cards or this image, then this is your reading. I think I'm going to go ahead and look at your image and channel messages first. One of the first things that I'm hearing with this image is I feel like you guys, your energy is very otherworldly. You guys are very unique. You may also be creative. It's actually making me think of in The Sims 4, there is this like secret world that you can, like, I don't know, you have to like go through like this secret, I think you have to go through like a secret tunnel or something, and you get to this world where all the aliens are. And I just get the feeling that that's something that you guys may be into. Like you may be into like taboo things, or like conspiracies, or in like aliens, and just like, I don't know, things that make you unique. I feel like you guys may, like, you may resonate with like being a star seed or something like that, or a light worker. But there's something about your energy, it just feels very like you're not of this world. Like a lot of the things that people kind of like associate with themselves, or it's like you can't relate to a lot of people You may even have a tendency to stand out, and for some of you, you may even like kind of go back and forth with like sometimes you can appreciate the fact that you stand out from the crowd and you're not into a lot of the things that people are into, and you're not obsessed with a lot of the things that people seem to be obsessed with. And I also feel like at other times you kind of feel like left out or like ostracized because you are so different, because you are so unique. um but I don't know, I feel like your uniqueness is very important. It's actually a very good thing. Can you imagine a world where everyone was the same or looked the same or thought the same? It would just, I don't think it would be a good thing. So I feel like with you guys, your difference is important. It's what's needed in this world. I'm hearing we need people that think differently and kind of like walk and carry themselves differently in this world, because if we didn't have these type of people, we wouldn't have like the different innovations and creations that we have today. Like we probably still be obsessed with fire. We probably wouldn't have like electricity and cars and like telephones and all the different cool stuff we had if we just all thought the same and we're just like content with being the same. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at your cards. I'm gonna move this to the side now because I don't think I'll be able to get everything to fit in here. So starting with your tarot cards, you have Queen of Swords, Six of Swords, and Two of Pentacles. With your tarot cards, I'm actually getting the message that some of you kind of, I think I didn't mention this before, but I feel like you guys kind of like go back and forth between kind of wishing that you could relate more to other people and kind of like wishing that you could, you know, kind of be normal or that you weren't so unique. And then at other times you do kind of like embrace your differences and you actually really enjoy that. For some reason, I get the sense that some people kind of like look at you as being naive, or I don't know. It's kind of like something about like the way that you think. Like I feel like people have a tendency to underestimate you guys. Like I don't know, I feel like people may look like kind of like look at the way that you move or operate through life and they kind of see you as aimless or directionless. And I don't think that's the case at all. I feel like okay, so like for example, I feel like a lot of people kind of like have this similar idea of what success means, and I feel like, just, you know, this is just an example, but like if just because you don't have that same idea of what success means, or like you don't have that same idea of what's important, I feel like people may have this tendency to believe that you're kind of like aimless or you're directionless. And again, I don't feel like that's the case at all. I just feel like you're kind of like looking in a different direction from other people. You just think differently too. Like I don't know, like I feel like maybe some of you kind of like resonate with being neurodivergent, and it's just like your brain just works differently. And just because people can't kind of like understand how your brain works, it doesn't mean that you're dumb or you're like slow or anything like that. It just means that you think differently than them, and I feel like that's actually a very good thing. And I don't know, it's something that I can definitely relate to, because I oftentimes struggle with, I don't know what, because I don't know, it's just like especially as I become like older and I become more content with like who I am, and I don't try to conform to anyone else's standards. You kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say it's like lonely, but it's like you have a hard time relating to other people, because there's like a gap there, and you can't like pretend to be interested in certain things because you're simply not. You're not concerned by those things. I feel like for some of you, you may even struggle with having like I'm hearing that you might have like struggle with having like intellectual conversations about some of the things that you're into. I think I did mention with your image that, like, for example, like if you're into conspiracy theories, you may have a hard time like talking to people because, for example, like you might come across someone and all they want to talk about is maybe like celebrities or reality TV or I don't know, like sports or something like that, but it's like those things are kind of like unimportant to you. Like you want to talk about like aliens or like the a documentary that you looked at. And so because you're not able to like bring up um like any like topics of conversation like to other people, like I feel like a lot of people tend to get like the wrong idea about you. And I don't know, it's another thing that's making me think of is like, I don't know, like maybe the people around you, they like to kind of do things like party and stuff like that, but you're not interested in that. Like you'd rather stay in. And I don't know, it's just something about you kind of like sets you apart from like most people. And I feel like a lot of people just have like this wrong idea about you because you're so different and you're so unique. um But yeah, let's go ahead and look at your oracle cards and see what else comes through. Now you have singing and dancing. Express yourself and awaken your psychic senses through the magical power of music and movement. And then you have best possible decision. Artemis, goddess of the bow, help me see what must be known. And then you have opportunity. And pile number 2, I feel like for some of you, like there's like I don't know, I feel like you've chosen a path for yourself that isn't like the most traditional path for yourself. Maybe for some of you, you've like chosen a career in singing and dance or something, or in like the entertainment business or something like that. And for some of you that have chosen like this path, it doesn't have to be specifically singing and dancing, but if you've chosen like a more creative path for yourself, I feel like for some of you, like you may have people in your life that tell you like your dreams or your ideas are unrealistic. Yeah, because I just get the sense that like you guys, for example, you might not be trying to follow a path that like a lot of people are trying, most people are trying to follow. Like for example, like most people choose careers and paths that are going to help them earn a certain income or help them to like earn a certain way of living or a certain lifestyle. And I feel like for you guys, like those things aren't important. And like it's like when you try to tell people that those things aren't really important to you because, you know, for example, you can't take those things with you when you pass away, and instead your primary focus is doing something that feels good to you and makes you happy. Like people kind of look at you like, huh, like what do you mean you're not trying to earn like status and uh live a certain lifestyle? I feel like the lifestyle that you actually desire to live, it's kind of like, I don't know, like people kind of like, it doesn't make sense to other people why you'd want to live that way. I also feel too like when it comes to whatever it is that you're trying to go through like the path that you're choosing for yourself, I don't know, I feel like the way that you're trying to do it, it's like, I don't know, like people, it doesn't make sense. Like not the it's like not the traditional way that most people go down that path. Um I even feel like for some of you, like there's something that like you guys are unique and you've chosen a unique path, and even through that unique path, like you're choosing a different way to go about that path. Because it's making me think of there's a singer on TikTok, and they are like, they're trying to make it in, I think they're trying to make it in the music industry, but their sound is so different and so unique, and it's like, how are they going to, they simply don't fit into a specific genre. I don't think, at least me personally, I don't know if there's a genre that fits that that singer's like sound, but it's reminding me of something like that, where like there's something like in your niche or something in whatever, I don't know, whatever career path that you've chosen for yourself. I feel like for some of you, you don't even want to call it a career, but whatever your creative path is, I feel like there's something within that makes you, like, it's a unique path that you've chosen for yourself, and you have something, especially the way that you go about it, it kind of like makes you stand out even more. Like for example, it's kind of making me think of how, like, I don't know, like people are telling you in order to do this or achieve that, then you have to maybe look a certain way, you have to be a certain way, and you have to do things in this particular way in order to achieve that. And I feel like the energy that you guys are giving off, it's like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to conform to that. I don't want to do things like that way. I'm going to make it my own way. And I feel like maybe the people around you kind of like see your actions as a bit careless, or maybe you seem a little bit aimless, but I don't see that at all. If anything, I feel like you guys are kind of like allowing your own intuition to guide you in the right direction. And the thing about our intuition is it is our inner navigation system, and we don't need anyone else or anything else to guide us on the right paths for ourselves. And I feel like you guys have learned to listen and trust yourself in a way that many other people have not. And I feel like that is also what helps you to stand out from the rest. But that's all I'm saying for you, pound number 2. I really hope this message resonated with you, or you were able to take something from it. I appreciate you so much for listening. As I stated in the intro, I'm currently not taking personal readings at this time, so please don't be scammed by anyone who may pretend to be me offering readings to you. If you'd like to support me and my work, you can do so by simply liking this video or sharing it with anyone you think may benefit from it. Also, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe, because I do plan on uploading more videos in the future. But I appreciate you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Hello, pawn number 3, and welcome to your reading. I have here your image and your cards right here. I think I'm first going to channel the message from your image, and then we'll get into your cards. So I don't know why, but when I'm looking at your image, it's making me think of that movie The Hobbit, which I haven't actually, I don't remember like watching all of it. I think I watched some of it. I don't know, I always thought that I could get into it because I used to be like, well, I am super into Harry Potter still, and I thought that I would be able to get into like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and stuff. Maybe if I had read the books first, then maybe I could have gotten to it more. But it's just something like I've had it in my like, I've had it a goal of mine to read the books, but I just haven't gotten into it yet. But it's making me think of like some type of adventure or some type of fantasy, especially where, like, for example, like the main character may go or start an adventure, and it's kind of like they're called to like this quest, and maybe initially on that quest they don't feel 100% certain of themselves or their ability to accomplish this quest, but they kind of like go out on this quest anyway. And by the end of the journey, like there's still some parts of themselves that have remained the same, but it's like throughout the journey they've kind of like proved themselves to be the hero, or they've proved themselves to be the main character, especially like in like certain types of fantasy books where the main character is oftentimes, like for example, like at the beginning of Harry Potter, like he's just a boy who is an orphan, and he's kind of like treated as insignificant and unimportant. Like he doesn't even have his own room, he doesn't have his own clothes, he's kind of like just at the will of the Dursleys. And by the end of the story, like he's able to, I feel like these characteristics of the hero have always been within him, but he's kind of like had to go through certain situations to bring out pieces of himself that were most likely always there, but they didn't have the ability to express themselves. So for some of you, you may be on the start of a new journey where you're uncovering different layers of yourself, or you're just like enjoying a new experience for yourself. But let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. I think first we'll look at your tarot cards and then we'll get into your oracle cards at the end. So you guys have the King of Swords, King of Wands, and Two of Wands. One of the first messages I'm hearing is it does feel like you guys are, I don't know, maybe you are kind of like underestimating your ability to go down a different path for yourself, or I don't know, maybe like even start over. I don't know why, but I'm also getting I'm also hearing that some of you had this desire to move or to relocate, and I don't know, maybe for some of you, like you're kind of like doubting whether or not you'd be able to support this move, support yourself on this move. Like, I don't know, it feels like maybe you guys are like moving out of a parent's home, or you're moving out on your own. And I don't know, because I'm just getting this like question of whether or not I can make this happen on my own, or whether or not I can support myself on my own. I'm also hearing too, like for some of you, if this isn't like an actual move, it's like questioning whether or not you can support yourself through this transition. There's like especially like I mentioned with your image, where like at the end of your story, like you're becoming a different person, but like I feel like the message was there, like that version of yourself that you're doubting whether or not you can be, it's already present within you, it's already a part of you. It's just that you have to allow yourself to have certain experiences to allow that version of yourself that's already there to come out. I don't know, I just get this feeling that you guys have, you kind of like underestimate yourself, and you doubt your own abilities at time. And I feel like for some of you, you may go through a certain experience where you're able to prove, like it's like you're proving your inner judge wrong. You're getting to show or prove something to yourself, and it has something to do with your abilities. I don't know, I just get the sense that there is some type of growth that is occurring in your life. I feel like you guys are also taking some type, you're catalyzing some type of change or some type of movement in your life very soon. And again, that's bringing me back to that first message where it feels like you guys are moving or changing location. I'm kind of interested in like what kind of story you're creating, because I think I did mention this with your image, but it's like you guys are entering a new chapter in your life, and you're kind of like, I don't know, it's like the current chapter that you're on, it's kind of like it's been left off on a cliffhanger of like whether or not the main character, which is you, will be able to take on what's coming up in this next chapter. And I don't know, I feel like you guys, like, I don't know, it's just like this question within you guys of like, will I be able to do it or not? And I don't know, I feel like you guys have to give yourself a little bit more credit, because I feel like you guys are more capable than you actually know. Let's look at your oracle cards and see what you got. The first card you got is God Box, and it says, write any worries, concerns, or desires on a piece of paper that you put into a special container called a God Box as a way of letting go and allowing the divine to help you. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. And then you have inspiration. Isis, goddess of magic, I ask thee to bring your inspiration to me. And then you got new beginnings. So, okay, first thing I obviously want to talk about is God Box. Is because with God Box, it actually reminds me of how, like, in a lot of these fantasy stories, um, usually the main character that has some doubt on whether or not they can make it, like through this journey, they're usually given like for instance, Harry Potter, he's given a group of friends that help him and support him along his journey. He also has like Dumbledore, who is like this wise man who is like kind of like pulling a lot of strings to help Harry Potter out, like behind the scenes. But with God boxes, reminding me of that, where like I feel like you have some type of guide, or even it could be the divine or source or whoever, or your spirit guides or your ancestors, but you have some type of guide, or you have some type of assistance when it comes to you um starting out on this journey for yourself with new beginnings. I do believe that, again, like, I know I mentioned like a new chapter, but I feel like for some of you, like, this is a completely different book. Like, you are on like book 2 of your trilogy or something like that. And I don't know, I feel like this is, I don't know, amazing for you guys. And I feel like for some of you, like, there is like this nervousness because you're not really sure what to expect or what exactly you're going to experience on this new journey for you. And so I feel like it's important for you to just like go with the flow and allow things to unfold for you, because again, it's reminding me of how, like, in a lot of these fantasy books, like, the main characters usually end up in situations that they did not initially end up on, and they always end up on like these side quests that kind of like play into the bigger plot in some type of way. Even though it might feel like the main character has kind of like gotten off course or something like that, they always end up where they're meant to be. So I feel like it's important for you to kind of like allow your journey to take you wherever it's meant to take you. I'm also hearing too for you not to be afraid to take risks, because I feel like you taking risks, like, I mean, of course, you know, do whatever you feel like you need to do to stay safe. Don't do anything that's gonna like put you in like a difficult situation. But I do believe it's important for you to kind of like, I don't know, don't stay in your comfort zone. If you feel like you can kind of like venture out a little bit, don't hesitate to do so. It's making me think too of how, like, people who, I don't know, like, I feel like for some of you, like, you may be afraid of taking a risk or taking a step out on your own and failing, but it's making me think of like how, like, I guess I don't know too much about birds, but it's making me think of like the mama bird kind of pushing her baby bird out of the nest and hoping that it can fly. And hopefully, like, the worst case scenario doesn't happen to you. But I feel like for you, like, the worst case scenario is that, you know, you take that leap and you set out on your own in this new beginning and you fail. But I'm hearing too, like, those failures aren't truly failures. They're just like an opportunity for you to grow. It's an opportunity for you to level up. So again, don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to take the wrong turn. Don't be afraid to, you know, take the wrong path, because like I mentioned, whatever path that you take, you're going to end up exactly where you need to be. And you're going to become, I don't want to say you'll become a completely different character, but you'll realize like your true character along your journey. But that's all I'm saying for you, pawn number 3. I really hope this message resonated with you, or you were able to take something from it. I really appreciate you so much for watching. Like I mentioned in the intro, I'm currently not taking personal readings at this time, so please don't be scammed by anyone who may pretend to be me offering such. If you'd like to support me and my work, you can do so by simply liking and sharing this video with anyone you think may benefit from it. I'd also appreciate it if you subscribe, because I do plan on making more videos in the future, and I hope to see you in one of those readings. But I'll see you next time.